Welcome back. No knives today. I've got a couple slabs of walnut, and I guess we're going to call this trying something new. Hoping to make some progress today. My slabs, these are walnut, they look beautiful. Mold is almost done. We'll button up that a little later. I actually hope to have this poured today. Still got to figure out some things though, but for now we're going to get started. I've got to get the Dremel tool out and start cleaning up a little more of these voids. I've got to make sure they're all clean. Then I'll finish the mold. So I've finished my mold. That's just MDF with Tyvek tape, lined with Tyvek tape. Hopefully the epoxy doesn't stick to it. Like I said, I've never done this before. I don't know what to expect, but I'm going to get these edges sealed up. I'm going to get it in the mold. I've got it in the molds. I like it. Now I've got to do a volume measurement so I know how much epoxy to buy. I don't want to buy too much because it's expensive. We'll say 5. Okay, so I just picked up some Total Boat epoxy. I only need about half a gallon, so I'll pour a little extra. And before I do this, I've never worked with Total Boat. I'm going to read the instructions and I'm going to do something really stupid and pour it in my gear room in my house on my desk. It's just too hot outside and my house will be a nice temperature for this to cure real well. And then I should have trusted my volume math because I poured way too much epoxy. Not in the mold, we're good there. It's going to shrink up, but I've got a lot of excess that's going to go to waste that I could have used on a future project. But first time learning, next time I'll trust my math. I'm going to give it just a few more minutes and I'm going to burn some of the air bubbles off there. And I'm going to keep an eye on it just because it's in the house and I want to make sure there's no leaks. The last thing I want to do is come back in an hour and find this stuff all over the floor. I like it. It has been 3 days. I did not want to start working on the base. I have an idea in my head on what I want to do, but I was afraid that I was going to mess this up and it wasn't going to come out right, so I haven't started the base. The last few days I've really spent some time cleaning my shop. It looks great in here and it's probably about fixing to get messed up. Let's see if this comes out of the mold. So this is making me pretty happy. I was just taking the tape off that I used to seal the corners and it's already loose. Wow, not bad at all. Goodness. Okay, we are back out here to work. I flattened the bottom side last night. That process went pretty well, but I wanted to talk about a few mistakes that I've made. The bigger ones, at least I think, for my first time. Number one, I mentioned it earlier, I poured way too much epoxy. My volume measurement was a little over half a gallon or a half a gallon, and I figured I needed a little bit extra for all the little checks and voids, and I ended up using a gallon, way too much. A half a gallon probably would have been perfect. Number two is I thought it was a good idea to make a little barrier around all the little voids. Well, you can see how that worked out. Probably an unnecessary step for something this size, or I didn't need to do that. The biggest mistake, I think, is when I clamp this thing down in the mold, I just put clamps right here on the end, and I probably should have used not only more of them, but I should have put some blocks up in here clamped down also, because what happened when I poured the mold is I right here where the river is, the epoxy flowed underneath it, and well, that's all this epoxy here, and it floated up, kind of creating a big warp in it. So I've had to flatten out and remove a lot more material than I wanted to. Live and learn. So I'm really happy with the way that came out. There's a couple little spots on the bottom. I'm really not too concerned about them, and they might even be fixed with the base that I'm gonna be, or not fixed, but hidden with the base that I'm gonna make for it. I'll probably fix them, but I don't think you're gonna see them either way. So now I'm gonna clean up my shop that was really clean 2 days ago. It's not too bad, I've been cleaning as I go, but we're gonna clean up, and I've got some walnut, and we're gonna get started on the base probably tomorrow. So this looks pretty. This is cut to final size. It's about 23 by 23. Really happy with the way it looks. Haven't 100% decided on a finish for the top yet, but we'll get that figured out later. We're gonna put this away and start working on the leg portion. So these have been in the clamps about 4 hours. Plenty long enough for me to work them. I'll work them lightly, nothing too crazy. I'm just hoping they separate and come apart. Well, I'm really happy with this. And I think you're gonna like it too once it's done. I'm gonna do something really neat right here, but it's that time of the day. I think it's about 3 o'clock. I'm going on a big backpack fishing trip in the morning, multi-day, so I've got to get this shop cleaned up. I hate coming home to a dirty shop. So we're gonna pick up, get things put away. We'll be back at it in a few days and hopefully get this thing wrapped up next week. one down, one to go. I used dowels to help with alignment, and they did a fantastic job. Very, very minimal sanding to flatten these back out. So we're gonna get this one. I'm probably just gonna set it outside to dry and work on the other one. Okay, we are moving right along today. I've got the frames for the legs, the frames or the legs, the base. I don't even know what it's called. It's outside drying. I went with some dowel joints to help give me a lot more strength and support. Now I'm going to sand these down. I've got 2 panels that need to be sanded down. Yeah, the tape measure's working today. So this is a dry fit up. It looks pretty good. It still needs a little bit of work, a little bit of sanding. I'm pretty happy with it though. First time I've really built something like this. And right here, I'm gonna do a really cool dovetailed drawer. I think I'm gonna do a curly maple face. We'll see how that goes. So I just did another dry fit up, and I've done some sanding. They should be pretty close to final sanded. I'm gonna get this box glued up. When I did my dry fit up, I put marks right here, and then obviously onto this piece here on both sides. So as long as I clamp it up with the glue where those marks are, it should fit the way that I want it to. Let's hope these are square. Well, that's pretty darn good. So we are going to secure this with dowels too. I just picked a random number. I'm going to go 6 inches in on each side, and we'll do 2 dowels. So I guess 4 a side. Okay, so I'm going to do a hasty glue up. I'm not going to try and dry fit these things because I've probably only got one chance with that little thing right there. That's going to break really easy. It'll be strong once it's all glued up, but I don't want to risk breaking those. I've used that machine a handful of times. I'm quite confident that it's going to fit. Might be a little snug, but we're going to glue it up right here. Well, I got it together. It actually fits nice. Those are really tight dovetails. They were difficult, but I didn't break the little ones. I've still got a little bit of sanding work to do on the drawer, and I got to put a bottom in it. I thought I had some 1/4-inch birch plywood, but I guess I don't. I have not yet seen if this fits. It should. It should fit pretty nice. How about that? Well, it's Saturday, and I guess everybody's taking advantage of a little bit of good weather to mow their lawn. We're just going to have to deal with it. So So it's been another productive day. I'm almost done. I actually just need my finish. I originally was going to put a black handle pull on that I got from Home Depot, left over from a past project. And then I decided I didn't want to do that. I've kind of handmade this, the whole thing, and I thought it should have a handmade handle pull. I messed around with a couple, and ultimately I'm going to use this one. I'll probably get that attached here pretty soon. Outside of that, we're just waiting for finish. Then we'll button this up. It's gonna look beautiful, I hope. One last thing, if anybody's wondering why I haven't put the back on here, I did rabbit this out, and I got a nice fitting walnut back that fits in here. I'm not gonna put that on there until after I finish the inside of the box right here. It'll be a lot easier to finish with this off, and I can reach in there and get all that Rubio in there. Then I'll button it up and finish the outside. So I have got all my parts ready for finish work. They are sitting out in the sun, in the breeze. I've washed them all down with mineral spirits. I'm really happy. I think it looks great. I had a lot of fun, and if you enjoy this kind of stuff, consider subscribing to my channel. We'll be back soon.